Welcome back. In this video, I'm going to be doing the next round of TBR Bingo. If you haven't seen the first videos, I'll have them linked in the cards, as well as in the description. As always, I got the inspiration to use bingo as a way to choose my TBR from Mads at Book Browsing Blog. I've been doing this check-in every quarter. I have 24 spaces for prompts, with the free middle space being used as a mood read space. I pick the prompts at random out of a select group of prompts. If you have any ideas, please put them in a comment. When I get a bingo, I get a token, which means I can buy a book. And when I get the Four Corners bingo, I get half a token. I also get tokens for every 10 books I read, and every 12 bingos I get. Another way I can get tokens is completing readathons. Half a one for a week long, one for a month long, and a half token every 3 months for a year-long readathon. Each book can only fit one prompt, with the exception of 1 or 2 prompts, like read every day for a week. After the 3 months are up, I replace every crossed out prompt and leave the ones I didn't end up completing. Hopefully that all makes sense. If not, ask questions in the comments. Let's go through how it went the last 3 months. Starting with the stats, I read a grand total of 6 books, 2 in every month. In terms of the amount of pages, I read 1661, 511 in January, 514 in February, and 636 in March, which is an average of 18 books per day and 277 per book. My average rating was a 3.5, with only 3 3-stars and 3 4-stars. In terms of format, I read 4 physical books and 2 digital books. In terms of genres, I read 2 mystery thrillers, 1 fantasy romance, 1 urban fantasy, and 2 historical fantasies. I read 4 young adult and 2 adult books. I read 2 standalones, 1 first in a series, and 3 rereads. And finally, in terms of authors, I read from 5 authors. 2 I read from before, and 3 were new to me. Although 1 is a pen name from an author I have read from before. Just a reminder that I have done monthly wrap-ups in shorts for all 3 months, linked below and in the cards. The first read of the year was At the End There Was You by Wendy Heiss. I gave this a 4-star. I picked this up because it's a short fantasy romance novel. It tells a sweet and sad story about life and death. While the plot twist felt somewhat predictable, there were moments of slight confusion. It was kind of bittersweet towards the end. I used this for the color on cover prompt. Also used for the January buzzword. Next was The Lady Rogue by Jen Bennett at a 3-star. On one hand, you have 2 great main characters. They were well developed and have quite the history, which makes did enjoy it. I wanted more of the actual storyline. Surprisingly nice, relaxing read, full of adventures and romantic angst that'll make you smile and giggle and root for the characters until the end. I used this for the page count prompt. In February, I started with The Strange Case of the Alchemist's Daughter by Theodora Goss, a reread that dropped down from a 5 to a 4-star. This is always a delight. Funny, great characters, and very well written. This is an adventure, mystery, historical fiction, and fantasy all rolled into one. The plot is clever and weaves multiple classics into something entirely fresh, and moves at a fast pace that keeps things interesting. I happen to love that the characters interrupt the story from time to time with witty back and forth banter. I don't know why I took away a star, but when it took 11 days to reread this, I knew this still couldn't be a 5-star. I used this for the and of a and prompt. Next was Unbreakable by Mira Grant at a 3-star. I felt a little lost, but it's well written, if not especially memorable for me. This is a story between two larger stories, children teams that fight evil until they've all lost, and the adult survivors of those teams learning what's really at stake. I use this for the one-word title prompt, as well as the February buzzword. And in March, I reread the first 2 in the Charlotte Holmes series by Brittany Cavallaro. A Study in Charlotte, still a 4-star. And The Last of August, dropping from a 4 to a 3-star. I always love a good retelling. While I must admit the ending to the first one was underwhelming, I had enjoyed the whole journey, so much so that I couldn't be bothered to care about how predictable it was. Unfortunately, I did not love the sequel as much as book 1. The beginning was how I expected the series to be, but the ending was a little confusing and difficult to catch up to, and that's after already reading it once before. A Study was used for the 2019 or before release prompt, as well as the March buzzword, with the last being used for the 3 stars on Goodreads prompt. So with 6 books read, I was able to cross off 6 prompts and get 1 bingo. For the tokens, I was able to grab 1 for the bingo and a half token for the buzzword reading challenge, which gives me 1.5 tokens from the last 3 months. In those months, I also purchased 7 books, which takes my token count from 33.5 to 26.5. I apparently don't buy as many books as I thought I did. And with those tokens, I got 2 books that finish and catch me up in series. The 3rd book in the Athena Club series by Theodora Goss, The Sinister Mystery of the Mesmerizing Girl, and the 2nd book in the Mary series by Cynthia Hand, Brody Ashton, and Jody Meadows, My Imaginary Mary. I got the standalone Warrior of the Wild by Tricia Levenseller, as well as the Bladesmith duology, Blade of Secrets and Master of Iron. I also got the Once and Future duology by A.R. Capetta and Corey McCarthy, Once and Future and Sword in the Stars. Now let's remove those crossed off prompts and get some new ones up is on page number. Second prompt. Over 300 pages. Next prompt. Not seen on BookTube or BookTok by me. Fourth prompt is Impulse Spy. Our fifth prompt is going to be read a book in one sitting. Last prompt. Finish or catch up in a series. So adding to the board is 1 about page count, 1 about my purchasing of the book, and 4 challenge prompts. Along with the bingo prompts, I have the next 3 months of buzzword prompts. April is nature words like sea, earth, and flower. May is the word every. And June is repeating words. Okay, so those are the prompts and challenges for the next 3 months. I'm excited about what I can read using this board. If you have any questions about anything I've gone over, please put them in a comment. You can also leave any recommendations about what books I can use for these prompts, or any prompts you think I can use in the future. And also let me know how many prompts and bingos you